My parents kicked me out for choosing photography over a stable job, sparking family tension and self-doubt. I fought to build my career, facing stolen work and strained ties, refusing to back down despite the emotional cost. Hey everyone, my name's Harper, I'm 26 years old, and I've been lurking on Reddit for a while, but I finally made an account because I need to get this off my chest. I don't even know where to start with this mess, but I guess I'll just dive in. Long story short, I got kicked out of my parents' house a couple of months ago because I decided to chase a career they don't approve of. It's been a total roller coaster since then, and I'm still trying to figure out if I'm the one screwing up here or if they're just being unreasonable. So, here's the whole story. Sorry if it's a bit long, but I need to vent, and I'd really appreciate some outside perspective. Growing up, my parents were super strict. Like, the kind of strict where every decision you make gets dissected under a microscope. My dad's a retired accountant, super practical, all about stability and numbers. My mom's a high school teacher, and she's got this thing about respectable jobs that look good on paper. They've always had this picture-perfect idea of what my life should be. Go to college, get a safe degree like engineering or nursing, land a steady 9 to 5, marry someone sensible, pop out a couple of kids, you get the drill. And for a while, I went along with it. I mean, I didn't want to rock the boat. I love them, and I didn't want to disappoint them. So, after high school, I went to college and studied marketing. It wasn't my dream or anything, but it checked their boxes: practical, employable, whatever. I graduated 3 years ago, got a decent job at this mid-sized company doing social media stuff, and I was fine. Not thrilled, not miserable, just fine. The pay was okay, I had benefits, and my parents were happy. They'd brag to their friends about how I was set for life and making smart choices. But deep down, I hated it. Sitting in a cubicle, churning out posts for some random brand I didn't care about. It felt like I was slowly suffocating. I'd come home every day drained, scrolling through Reddit or TikTok, watching people live these creative, exciting lives, and wondering why I couldn't do that. Here's where it gets messy. About a year ago, I started dabbling in photography on the side. It wasn't planned or anything. I just borrowed a friend's camera one weekend, went out to shoot some nature stuff, and fell in love with it. Like, genuinely obsessed. I'd spend hours editing photos, learning lighting tricks, watching tutorials. For the first time in forever, I felt alive. I started an Instagram account to share my work, and people actually liked it. I got a few small gigs, senior portraits, a couple's engagement shoot, and it hit me. This is what I want to do. Not some soul-crushing desk job, but this. Photography. Full-time. I knew my parents wouldn't be on board, so I kept it quiet for a while. I'd sneak out to shoots after work, save up every penny I made from it, and slowly build a portfolio. By last summer, I had enough gigs lined up that I started thinking I could actually quit my job and make a go of it. I wasn't delusional. I did the math, made a budget, talked to other freelancers. It wasn't going to be easy, but it felt possible. So, around October, I decided to tell my parents. Big mistake. I sat them down one night after dinner. I was nervous as hell, hands shaking, but I laid it all out. How much I hated my job, how photography made me happy, how I'd been planning this for months. I even showed them my portfolio and some of the emails from clients booking me. I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd see how serious I was. Nope. My dad's face went stone cold, and my mom started tearing up like I'd just told her I was joining a cult. Dad said, "You're throwing away a stable career for a hobby? Are you out of your mind?" Mom chimed in with, "We didn't raise you to chase pipe dreams, Harper. This isn't practical. You'll end up broke and begging us to bail you out." I tried to explain that it wasn't just a hobby, that I had a plan, but they wouldn't hear it. It turned into this huge fight. Yelling, crying, the works. Dad said I was being selfish and immature, and Mom kept going on about how I was wasting my degree. I stormed off to my room, thinking they'd cool down eventually. They didn't. The next day, they doubled down. Dad gave me this ultimatum: stick with my real job and stop this photography nonsense, or I could pack my bags and leave. I was floored. I mean, I still lived with them to save money, but I never thought they'd actually kick me out over this. So, I called their bluff. I said, "Fine, I'm choosing photography," packed up my stuff, camera, clothes, laptop, and left. I crashed on my friend Evelyn's couch that night. She's been my rock through all this, but I'll get to her in a sec. Point is, I moved out, Quit my job a week later, and I've been freelancing ever since. It's been 2 months now, and I'm scraping by barely. I've got enough gigs to cover rent at this cheap apartment I found, but it's tight. Like, ramen for dinner 3 nights a week tight. Meanwhile, my parents haven't texted or called once. It's radio silence, and it's killing me. Now, here's where the sub-conflicts come in, because this isn't just about me and my parents. First, there's my brother, Joshua. He's 29, married, and basically the golden child. He's an engineer, has a house, a kid on the way, the whole package my parents wanted for me. He's always been the one who followed their rules, and they adore him for it. When I told him what happened, I thought he'd back me up, sibling solidarity or whatever. Instead, he took their side. He called me up a few days after I left and said, "You're putting mom and dad through hell over this, Harper. Why can't you just grow up and stick with what works?" I was pissed. We got into it, and now we're barely speaking. He thinks I'm some reckless idiot, and I think he's a spineless suck-up. It sucks because we used to be close. Then there's Evelyn. She's my best friend since high school, 25, super chill, works as a barista while she figures out her own life. She's the opposite of my family, laid back, supportive, doesn't judge. When I showed up at her place crying with all my stuff, she didn't even hesitate. She was like, "Stay as long as you need, dude. Follow your gut." She's been hyping me up ever since, helping me book gigs, even letting me borrow her car when mine crapped out last month. But here's the twist, my parents hate her. They've always thought she's a bad influence because she's not some high achiever with a fancy degree. After I moved out, Mom apparently told Joshua that Evelyn's the one who put these ideas in my head, which is total BS. Now I'm worried they'll try to turn him against her too, and I don't want her dragged into this mess. Oh, and let's not forget my ex, Joseph. We dated for 2 years, broke up 6 months ago. He's 28, works in IT, and he's intense. Controlling, kind of an a-hole if I'm honest. We split because he hated how much time I spent on photography. He'd call it wasting time and nag me to focus on my real career. When we were together, he'd side with my parents constantly, saying stuff like, "They just want what's best for you. Harper, stop being so stubborn." After I got kicked out, he somehow found out, probably through mutual friends, and texted me this smug, "Told you so. You should have listened to me and your folks." I didn't even reply, but it stung. Part of me wonders if he's right, and that's messing with my head. So, that's the main drama, but it's been a domino effect of crap ever since. Living on my own for the first time is brutal. I'm in this tiny, run-down apartment. Think peeling paint, leaky faucets, neighbors who blast music at 3 a.m. I've got no savings cushion anymore, and every time a gig falls through, I panic. Last week, I spent 2 days shooting this family session, edited everything overnight, and then they ghosted me on payment. I cried in my kitchen over a bowl of cereal because I couldn't even afford coffee. I keep telling myself it'll get better, but some days I just want to crawl back to my old job and beg for it back. Emotionally, I'm a wreck. I miss my parents so much it hurts. We've never gone this long without talking. I keep replaying that fight in my head, wondering if I could have explained it better, or if I should have waited longer to build up my photography stuff before dropping the bomb. I drive by their house sometimes. Pathetic, I know, just hoping to see them outside, but I'm too scared to knock. Joshua won't answer my texts unless it's to lecture me, and I'm terrified I've lost my whole family over this. At the same time, I'm proud of myself for sticking to my guns. Every time I finish a shoot and see the photos come together, it's this rush, like, yeah, this is why I did it. But then the bills pile up, and I'm back to doubting everything. Evelyn keeps me sane. She'll drag me out for cheap tacos when I'm spiraling, or we'll binge some dumb show on her couch and laugh about how broke we are. She's the one who convinced me to post this. Actually, she said Reddit's full of people who've been through similar stuff and might have advice. I don't know what I'd do without her, but I feel guilty leaning on her so much. She's got her own crap to deal with. Her boss at the coffee shop's a jerk, and she's barely making rent herself. I don't want to be a burden, but she insists I'm not. Joseph keeps popping up too. He's texted me a few more times, all condescending, like, "How's the starving artist life treating you?" I think he's waiting for me to fail so he can swoop in and play the hero. It's tempting sometimes. When I'm stressed and lonely, I almost miss how predictable things were with him. But then I remember how suffocating he was, and I snap out of it. Still, it's another layer of noise in my head. Looking back, I get why my parents flipped out. They grew up with nothing. Dad worked 2 jobs to put himself through school. Mom's family was dirt poor. They're obsessed with security because they never had it. Photography probably sounds like gambling to them, and I'm their kid. They don't want me to struggle like they did. But I wish they'd trust me. I'm not some naive teenager. I'm 26. I've got a plan. I'm working my butt off. And yeah, it's shaky right now, but isn't that how it goes when you start something new? Joshua doesn't get it either. He's so wired like them, all about playing it safe. I used to admire that about him, but now it just feels like he's judging me for not being a carbon copy. The other day, I was editing photos at 2 a.m., half dead from exhaustion, and I found this old picture I took of my parents at a family picnic years ago. They're laughing, holding beers, looking so happy. I just sat there staring at it, bawling my eyes out. I want them to be proud of me, not ashamed. I want Joshua to call me up and say, "Hey, I was wrong. You've got this." But I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Evelyn says give it time, that they'll come around when they see me succeed. But what if I don't? What if I crash and burn, and they were right all along? Right now, I'm hustling every day, cold emailing clients, posting on social media, taking any gig I can get. Some days are good. Like last month, I shot this small wedding, and the couple loved the photos so much they tipped me extra. Other days, I'm refreshing my inbox, praying for a response, and coming up empty. I've got a shoot tomorrow, but the client's already haggling over the price, and I'm too desperate to say no. It's a grind, and I'm terrified I made the wrong call. So, that's where I'm at. I chose photography over my parents' approval, and now I'm out on my own, juggling money stress, family drama, a smug ex, and my own self-doubt. I keep asking myself if I'm being selfish for wanting this, or if they're the ones being unfair for not giving me a chance. I don't know. I just know I couldn't keep living a life that wasn't mine, even if it meant blowing everything up. Am I the problem here? Am I being unreasonable? I'd love to hear what you guys think. Be brutal if you have to. Thanks for reading this novel of a post.
Update incoming.
Update. This is what has happened since then. Hey everyone. It's been a wild few months since I last posted here, and I figured it was time to drop an update. Thanks for all the comments on my last post. They really helped me process everything. A lot's changed, some for the better, some for the worse, and there's a new mess I'm dealing with now. I'll try to keep this straight and not ramble too much, but buckle up, because it's been a ride. So, after I got kicked out and started freelancing full-time, things were rocky for a while. I was crashing at Evelyn's place, scraping by on whatever photography gigs I could snag, and honestly, barely keeping my head above water. But about a month after my last post, something clicked. I landed a big gig shooting for a local boutique's spring campaign. Decent pay, good exposure, the whole deal. That job led to a couple more referrals, and suddenly I had a steady-ish stream of clients. I'm not rolling in cash or anything, but I'm paying my bills without crying over cereal every night. So that's progress. I even moved out of Evelyn's apartment and into my own place. Still tiny and kind of shitty, but it's mine. I've got my camera gear set up in the corner, and it feels real, you know? Like I'm actually doing this. The photography thing's been a grind, but it's paying off in ways I didn't expect. I started posting more of my work online, and a few of my shots went semi-viral on Instagram. Nothing crazy, just a couple thousand likes, but it got me noticed. Last week, this small art gallery downtown reached out and asked if I'd be interested in showing some of my prints at their next exhibit. It's not a huge paycheck, but it's a chance to get my name out there, and I'm freaking out about it, in a good way. For the first time, I feel like I might actually make this career work, and it's this weird mix of pride and terror. But here's where it gets complicated with my family. After months of silence, my mom reached out. It was out of nowhere, just a text saying, "Can we talk?" I almost dropped my phone when I saw it. We met up at a coffee shop a few days later, and it was awkward. She looked tired, like she hadn't been sleeping, and I probably didn't look much better. She started off apologizing, sort of. She said she hated how things ended and that she missed me, but then she pivoted to, "We're still worried you're throwing your life away." I told her about the gigs, the gallery thing, how I'm supporting myself, but she just kept saying, "It's not stable, Harper." It stung, because I thought maybe she'd see I'm not some flaky dreamer. We didn't fight, but we didn't exactly make up either. She hugged me before she left and said, "Your dad's still upset, but he'll come around." I'm not holding my breath. Joshua's a different story. He's still pissed at me, and it's gotten worse. After Mom and I met up, he found out, probably from her, and called me up fuming. He went off about how I'm manipulating her by playing the victim and how I need to stop being so selfish. I tried to explain that I didn't ask her to reach out, but he wasn't having it. He said some nasty stuff, like how I'm embarrassing the family and how his wife thinks I'm a bad influence on their kid, who's not even born yet, by the way. That cut deep. We hung up yelling, and now we're back to not talking. I don't get why he's so mad. Like, does my life really affect him that much? I miss him, but I'm tired of being the one who has to grovel. Evelyn's still my lifeline. She's been hyping me up through all this, helped me pick photos for the gallery, even came with me to scope out the space. She's got her own stuff going on. Her coffee shop job's still a nightmare, and she's thinking about quitting, but she's always there when I need her. We've gotten even closer since I moved out, and I'm so grateful for her. My parents still don't like her, though. Mom made some snide comment during our talk about how I should spend less time with people who encourage reckless decisions, and I knew she meant Evelyn. I shut that down quick, but it's another reminder they'll never get it. Now, here's the new problem that's popped up, and it's a doozy. Because my photography's picking up, I've been posting more about it online, portfolio stuff, behind-the-scenes shots, whatever. A couple weeks ago, I noticed some of my photos showing up on this random blog. No credit, no permission, just straight up stolen. At first, I thought it was a fluke, so I messaged the guy running it, some wannabe influencer type, and asked him to take them down or at least tag me. He ignored me. Then more of my stuff started popping up, and I realized he's been ripping off not just me, but a bunch of other photographers too. It's not just annoying, it's screwing with my business. Clients are starting to ask why my exclusive shots are all over this dude's site, and I'm losing credibility. I did some digging and found out this guy's got a decent following, like 10,000 people, and he's making money off ads or something. I'm furious. I spent hours on those photos, hiking out to locations, editing until my eyes hurt, and he's just swiping them like it's nothing. I've been stressing over what to do. Part of me wants to blast him publicly, but I'm worried it'll backfire and make me look petty or unprofessional. Another part of me wants to let it go, but that feels like giving up. Evelyn thinks I should lawyer up, but I can't afford that. I'm still ramen budget broke half the time. It's this whole new headache I didn't see coming, and it's because I stuck to my guns with photography. If I'd stayed at my old job, this wouldn't even be an issue. On top of that, I'm still second-guessing myself. The gallery thing's exciting, but what if no one shows up? What if my prints don't sell? Every time I hit a bump, like this photo theft crap, it's like a voice in my head saying, "Your parents were right, you're gonna crash." I try to shake it off, but it's loud some days. Meeting with Mom stirred up all those old feelings too. I want them back in my life, but not if it means groveling or giving up what I love. And Joshua, I don't even know how to fix that. I keep wondering if I'm the one who's wrong here, if I'm too stubborn or selfish, but then I look at my work, at how far I've come, and I can't imagine going back. The last few weeks have been this weird tug-of-war between hope and chaos. I'll have a great day. Like yesterday, I shot this gorgeous sunset session for a couple, and they were so happy they booked me for their anniversary next year. Then I'll come home, see my stolen photos online, or get a passive-aggressive text from Joshua, and it's like a punch to the gut. I'm proud of myself, but I'm tired. I didn't think chasing what I wanted would cost me this much. Family, stability, peace of mind. Evelyn keeps saying it's worth it, that the hard stuff's just part of building something real, but I don't know. Some nights, I just sit there with my camera, staring at it, wondering if I made the right call. So, that's where I'm at now. Photography's taking off, but my family's still a mess, and this photo theft thing's got me paranoid and pissed. I'm figuring it out day by day, but I'd love your take. What would you do about the stolen pics? And am I out of line for not caving to my parents and Joshua? Hit me with your thoughts, good or bad. Thanks for sticking with me through this update.
Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our daily updates.